Veterans are reporting to training camp on Tuesday, and the Miami Dolphins are walking into this phase with the weight of an offseason that refused to play it safe. No gentle reshuffling, no playing around the edges. They traded away all-pro names, restructured contracts that once looked untouchable, and treated free agent spending like it was lava. The result? Just over $1.2 million in salary cap space left, barely breathing room in a league where surprises aren't just common, they're expected. The Buffalo Bills are the only team in a tighter spot, and even they've already crossed the line into the red. It's tight, uncomfortably so. And that pressure doesn't go away. It's just beginning. Take the Jalen Ramsey situation. It wasn't just a trade. It was Miami betting on long-term sustainability over short-term comfort. Ramsey's deal, a bloated 4-year, $84.7 million contract, got handed off, but not before leaving behind a $15 million dead cap hit. That's the cost of escape. And they even had to pay $3 million just to convince someone else to take it. Financial gymnastics. But there was method to the madness. The space created from that trade wasn't to be admired. It had to be used immediately. That move opened the door for Minkah Fitzpatrick's $15.5 million cap hit to slip in. You can criticize the risk, but not the intent. They gave up a star and took a hit to make room for a known force on defense. Fitzpatrick's deal doesn't come with any more guaranteed money in the final 2 years. That's leverage, but it's also tension. He's now the third largest financial presence on the team at 5.55% of the cap. Ahead of him, Tua Tagovailoa at nearly $40 million, 14% of the total, and Tyreek Hill at 9.92%. That's nearly a third of the $279.2 million cap, committed to just 3 players. And yet, the Dolphins didn't hesitate. That says something about their conviction. And that conviction, it's about to be tested, in front of everyone, starting Tuesday. It wasn't just Fitzpatrick and a hopeful trade that shaped this puzzle. Darren Waller landed on the books for $2 million, barely a ripple in the cap pond, but potentially huge on the field. Then came Jonah Savaiania, a second-round rookie with a fully guaranteed $11.3 million deal, for $0.9 million of that upfront. That kind of commitment to a second-rounder? It's telling. They aren't just investing in star power, they're banking on upside, long-term contributors. But now, with the cap barely intact and the roster mostly shaped, the spotlight shifts to training camp and the next brutal reality check. Someone else will need to be moved, restructured, or sacrificed. The math doesn't lie. Injuries happen. Roster needs evolve. One misstep, and that sliver of cap space vanishes. And that brings us to cornerback. Still a glaring need. Storm Duck and Cam Smith are battling for that role across from Kader Kohou, but the room lacks proven depth. Rasul Douglas flirted with the team earlier, turned them down, and never came back. Asante Samuel Jr. seemed like a fit on paper, but his father's outspoken shots at Mike McDaniel and the front office might have closed that door before it even opened. So now what? Stephon Gilmore? He's out there. So is Mike Hilton. They cost something, not just in dollars, but in flexibility. And that's where Miami's trapped, caught between need and reality. They could go after another vet, sure, but then what happens when someone goes down mid-season and there's no financial air left to breathe? That's why someone like Zach Sealer becomes the next pressure point. Quietly, consistently, undeniably valuable. 2 years left on the deal he signed last August, a 3-year, $31.75 million extension. But that $12.5 million cap hit for 2025 doesn't line up with what he's delivered. According to Over the Cap, he ranks just 20th among interior linemen in cap value. Production-wise, he's up there with the best. 10 sacks in back-to-back seasons, and the only interior lineman in the league to pull that off in that span. Availability? Practically spotless. Just 2 missed games since 2020, and both due to an eye injury last year. And it's not just media or fans noticing. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who played alongside him, didn't sugarcoat it. He called Sealer severely underrated and underpaid, and said if he had the pedigree or the contract to match his stats, he'd be pulling in over $20 million a year. That's not idle praise. That's someone who's been in that locker room, seen what Sealer brings, and knows the NFL rarely pays guys like him unless forced to. The Dolphins didn't include him in last year's wave of contract extensions. And sure, he's not holding out. He's not causing noise. But maybe he should be. He's been everything the defense needed and more. So when do the Dolphins do right by him?